Thank you for joining us. Um, we welcome to everybody that's joined us today. My name is Tando Daza.
My name is Limpho Seeiso.
Awesome, and we are live on YouTube, and we are currently preparing to be live on Instagram. Are we live for our Instagram users? Are we live? Reloading, 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 reloading. We live. Awesome. Welcome to the in-person conversations with Udimpo. This is regarding the Unbreakable series, the book, and we are making sure that we cover all themes regarding the book. For those that just have joined us on the Instagram Live, my name is Tando Daza.
My name is Limpho Seeiso.
So the book is all about the author and everything that she's actually been through and her journey. So today's topic is IVF. And last week we spoke about motherhood. And we had Lucille Slapper join us in conversation. And today it's just going to be me and Dimple. Awesome. So tell us, I mean, IVF is number one, so expensive. Number two, not a lot of people know about it. So let me take it from the beginning. When and how were you exposed about IVF?
When looking into the options of having a baby, my partner and I were looking into IVF, IUI, and adoption.
IUI. What's IUI?
IUI it's your artificial insemination,
Okay.
where semen is just placed into the woman's body.
Okay.
IVF is when an embryo is placed, the fertilization happens outside the body. But with IUI, it happens inside the body.
Hectic. This sounds very complicated, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure for the people that are trying to obviously conceive, all about this.
Yeah.
I know IVF. I've heard a lot of people that you inject yourself a lot.
Well, I think it depends because we didn't. It depends on your health issues.
Okay.
What are you going through then? And IVF, yes, it's expensive, but it's also dependent on your health issues. Are you having any challenges conceiving?
Yeah.
Are you having any? Do you have any? In the woman's body, there are a lot of things, even in a man's body, because guys also go through IVF with their partners. So it depends on your challenges. I didn't go through a lot of injections.
Okay.
There were injections, but I didn't go through that.
And what's a lot? Like, so how many injections did you have to inject yourself with?
So when we were stimulating, when we were harvesting the eggs, which is the initial part of IVF,
Yeah.
that's when you go through injection. Maybe in 2 weeks, then you'll be injecting yourself twice every day,
Sure.
just to prepare the eggs for harvesting. Yeah. And then afterwards, when you're preparing to plant, it's just basically medication and not a lot of injection. Well, I know you said what is a lot. There aren't really
Yes.
injections after harvesting.
All right.
It's
So
just
you only inject yourself to harvest.
yeah to prepare the eggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So why did you go through the route of IVF? Maybe take us, from that. Why did you decide to do IVF?
We wanted to have a baby, and we could have gone IUI, but we wanted to use my partner's eggs. So the only option was for us to do IVF. Then for her to harvest, and then we also check the eggs if they're I don't want to say if they're healthy enough to produce an embryo. Yeah. So that's the main reason why we went IVF.
And you did IVF because you're a gay woman. Remember, there are people also
Yeah.
on YouTube that don't know that you're a gay woman.
Yeah.
So we need to, take it back and not
Yeah.
assume people know. Some people
Yeah.
might be joining the live as
For the
well
first
for the
time.
first time.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm saying. Let's take it back from the beginning. The
Yeah.
people that don't know your story and don't know why you do IVF, it's like, oh no, but wouldn't you have a semen?
And
Wouldn't you?
also when you're saying I didn't have any health issues, then why did you do IVF?
Exactly.
Yeah. So as a gay woman, there not a lot of options to have kids. It would just be those three options that I mentioned: adoption, IUI, and IVF. So that's the main reason why we went the IVF route.
And using the IVF route, meaning that you've got both genetics or genes of your partner as well as yours in order to form the baby. Is
No,
it like that?
the DNA it's only for the partner.
The DNA is only for the partner.
Yeah,
So the baby, because you carried the baby.
I carry the baby. Yes.
So, but there's DNA that also that is with your partner.
Yeah, because we use only my partner's eggs.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then would okay, because this seems very complicated to me. I don't know for other people. So does that mean that the baby also then has your DNA because you carried the baby?
Not really. So as
So
far
there's
as
no so you don't have there's no nothing at all.
yeah,
But you carried the baby.
yeah.
That is wild.
Tell me about
I think
it.
this is very interesting. Like,
Yeah.
how could that happen? So
It's the same. It's
okay.
the same as let's say we're talking about male, two guys, two gay men trying to have a baby. They'll go and find a surrogate,
Okay.
and then the baby would not have the surrogate's DNA because it's basically the semen from the guys,
Yes.
and then an egg donor that they decide to go with.
Oh my god.
In a case where the surrogate would not be the egg donor, so the
Yeah.
would never have the DNA for the surrogate. So
Yes.
in a way, I was just the ovum.
That is so crazy. And why did you decide to be the one that carries the baby?
I wanted to. I think I just wanted to be pregnant. I wanted to.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So if they were to do fingerprints of the baby, there's nothing that would reflect coming back to you.
He looks nothing like me.
I think this is just wild.
But you
I
know
think
the
this is
funny
just
thing, the
wild.
funny thing is for people that don't know, they think he looks like me, but he doesn't.
But also they don't understand the technicalities of
Probably.
it, because I mean, for me, I mean, it's the first time. I mean, I know there's IVF, but I don't know the in depth or the length of
Yeah.
what actually it entails and how it really works.
Yeah.
You know, we all hear the word thrown around IVF, and a lot of women are obviously trying to conceive because it's also, I mean, for partners that are, heterosexual partners, it's also a difficult journey to conceive, and
it
they
is.
use IVF.
Yeah.
But I don't think people are really aware of some of the other information they know about.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite interesting. And okay, yeah, sorry.
And also, even with heterosexual couples that decide to go IVF because they're maybe struggling with other issues, you might find that the DNA at all, it's not either. Like, they could get a sperm donor and an egg donor. So I think there's just more to having a child than just DNA.
Sure,
Yeah.
but it's still your baby.
It is my baby.
And you carried it for 9 months, and you had to do the whole pushing and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. It is.
This is so interesting. And tell me where you went to go through the IVF channels. Which hospitals, and what was the experience with the doctors? What's the process for someone who is interested to go through that journey?
So we went to Vitalab. We just looked up a fertility clinic in Joburg. Then went to Vitalab. It's a clinic in Sandton.
Okay.
The whole experience was beautiful. Like, they were always there for us whenever we needed support. Was really like we went through the journey with him. Even we had two nurse coordinators. They also went through the journey with them. And they were always available. Yeah. So they made it easy. It's quite a training process to go through. So if you have the team that is always available and your partner is also always available, it was okay. Besides the training, emotionally, financially, it's a lot. Yeah, but the clinic was excellent.
And when you say draining, what kind of emotional roller coasters were you going through? Because when you are pregnant, obviously your hormones obviously change. So with IVF, there's its own challenges and its own hormones.
Yeah,
I would assume because
Yeah.
of the starting of the process,
Yeah.
and obviously the overload of the information, and let's say I go for the first time, I've got to start injecting it. So what happens? Tell us about the mental state that you were in, and what hormones you went through.
So, firstly, like you said, it's expensive, and you're told that it's 30% success rate.
Imagine.
So there's a whole 70% that you still need to worry about.
Yeah.
And we harvested 25 eggs
Okay.
at the start, and then we had only 17 healthy eggs,
Okay.
and then we only had one embryo out of the 17 healthy eggs. So we only had one chance at it. And there's also the 30% that the clinic makes sure they remind you all the time just to work on your expectations. And then there's also the hormones that's being pumped in. So I went through it at the beginning. I was always tired and also feeling weird. The moods, and pregnant people have those feelings. But I mean, it was just different. I was constantly tired, like tired, like I'm gonna fall asleep while I'm walking.
Hectic.
Yeah. So it was just not. It was training also, and my partner was working,
Yeah.
and I was alone at home. Well, yeah, it was
So you were tired before you were even 7, 8 months.
before I was 2 weeks pregnant. Before I was even 2 weeks
Because
pregnant.
I know a lot of people, obviously, morning sicknesses are different for everyone.
Yeah.
Other people are constantly always tired. Others get super tired, towards the end of the last trimester. So the fact that you were studying before,
Before I could even test positive for pregnancy, literally before I could test positive for pregnancy, I was just going through, but
of yourself,
yeah.
crazy.
And
Tell
I
us.
think I was also experiencing some skin, like I was developing some rash on my skin.
Are
Yeah.
these some of the side effects that they warn you about?
Yeah. Those are the side effects they warn me about.
Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
purchase. So, did you spend?
I think 20. Yeah.
What was the period? Did you have to pay it up front? Did you have to pay it in 2 months or 3 months?
No, with us we harvested in 2018,
Okay.
and then so the plan was to harvest and then get into it a few months because of the finances. We needed to work on the finances, and then when we had planned to start in 2020, then we went through COVID. Then we were like, okay, let's sit it out a bit and see.
Okay.
But then when COVID didn't leave, then we just decided, let's do it. Let's just do it.
Yes,
So
let's do
even
it.
though it was so expensive, it was not like we just paid everything all at once. It came in bits and pieces.
So what I find interesting is saying that you started the process in 2019,
Yeah.
2018.
Let me tell you when we first went to the clinic.
Yeah.
In 2017,
Okay.
October 2017. That's
And
when
then what was happening there?
we were. So we wanted to plan, but then we also wanted to know what we were planning. So we
Mm.
went for our first consultation in 2017, and then afterwards we took like almost a year.
Mm.
Then after that year we prepared to go harvest.
So what I find interesting is that you're saying decided to harvest, and then took a break.
Mm.
So your body changes. So did you have to harvest again?
No, but remember we were harvesting from my partner. We were harvesting from Bikuza. So she went through the the preparedness to harvest alone on her own.
Okay.
I need to have it. Okay.
Yeah, well,
So
tell us what the harvesting is, because maybe it's like.
harvesting is when you literally harvest eggs from the body and store them in a lab at the clinic. So that is harvesting. Yeah. Then they give you hormones.
So they take out your eggs.
Yeah. They take out your eggs.
And isn't that the extraction the most expensive part of the process?
Yeah, it was the most
Because
expensive
it's
part.
exactly the same thing as when you, well, I would assume it's a similar process as when you freeze your eggs.
Yes,
It's a
it is.
similar process.
Yes. And we
Because
also
I
had
know that that's about like
it
50,000,
is
sixty
like
thousand.
70 something.
Hectic. And that
Yeah,
was in 2019,
2018.
2018.
Yeah,
I'm so baffled.
yeah.
So
So she went through the whole thingy alone, and then we were done with her.
and what are some of the conversations she would share with you to say that this is how she's feeling regarding when she was harvesting? Were there pains? Was there side effects? What are some of those? Because obviously, not everybody knows this
Mm.
information, and I think this is why we
Yeah,
have the YouTube live and we have the Instagram,
yeah, yeah.
to be able to have those conversations, and so that people know
I think she was also going through uh,
hormonal
that,
imbalances.
yeah, and that feeling like I'm pregnant thingy, and she was tired, constantly tired, and she gained a lot of weight after trying to lose so much. She gained back the weight, which was, yeah, and then yeah, she was just going through the tiredness mostly and the appetite, like,
Yeah. Always constantly wanting to eat.
yeah, yeah,
Hectic.
yeah,
So the habits of not eating now, I'm gonna stay with that if I don't want to eat now. And if I'm
yeah,
eating a lot, it's gonna be
yeah,
worse.
yeah, yeah,
This is so interesting. And I think for a lot of people, obviously, because you're told that, try freeze your eggs at the age of 20 something, but where were you gonna get 70,000 rand? 80,000 rand, 90,000 rand of extracting your eggs to put them aside.
I know you also still pay storage.
Yeah, storage though is within a year. It's about 2 to 4,000 depending where you place it. So the storage is not that
It's not that
expensive,
bad.
but the extraction.
Yeah, I guess.
Because myself, I've looked at freezing my eggs because I'm like, oh, the time is ticking, and there's a lot of women that also obviously
Want to
you,
freeze
you
our eggs.
want to freeze their eggs because
Yeah,
we don't want to also have kids just for the sake of having kids,
yeah,
because that's also another thing.
yeah,
But no one tells you about the cost implications and
yeah,
how drastic it is.
yeah.
They just say, no, it's about 2,000, 3,000, but
No,
that's only the storage.
no,
And that's what people don't know.
yeah.
This is quite interesting. For someone who is interested to go through IVF, what are some of the key um, points or information that you can share with them that you're saying, what, guys, these are some of the things that my doctor possibly might have not told me, or this is what I personally experienced and had to learn to figure out how to navigate this IVF journey myself as well. Because I think in life it's like that. It's like when you write an exam, a teacher teaches you, but you write an exam and then this question is so tricky, you have to figure it out. So with your IVF journey, what was that? What was that for you?
You know, I don't know because sometimes I could say, like also to mention that we people go through a lot of cycles before they're successful, and we went just through one
Yeah,
cycle,
which
and
was such a
which was
blessing.
amazing.
And I mean,
Yeah.
just not too long ago in the Instagram live that you were having with Nozipo,
Mm.
I mean, she shared her story. I mean, people can definitely go check it out on Dipo's platform on Instagram, where Nozipo shared her story about the fact that she went through IVF for years and in different countries and with different doctors,
Yeah.
because we always automatically assume that no, if I go overseas, I'm going to get the best help.
Yeah.
And her journey after many years only became successful from a doctor that she used in in Richards Bay
Yeah.
or Pietermaritzburg in South Africa.
I think it's the same clinic,
Yes, Vitala, but in a
but
different, yeah, in
in a different,
Pietermaritzburg,
yeah,
correct, or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
in KZN, yeah.
And it just shows you the lengths that people go through to try conceive. And there are many like Abonozi, but there are many
Yeah,
other people. I've got friends that have tried IVF and didn't work. There
yeah.
are friends that have also tried doing a back a buddy that I know to try raise funds for IVF because it's so expensive,
It's so expensive.
but it's the urge and the need and the want for wanting a baby because it's not that easy for everybody.
Yeah.
But as you were still saying, and you were telling us about those key
So
important pointers.
so there is a group of women going through IVF. Yeah, it's some sort of a support group.
Okay.
It helps.
And where's the support
It's
group?
it's on Facebook. The
Okay.
one that I joined, it's on
And
Facebook.
what is it called?
It's IVF South Africa. So there are two groups. It's IVF South Africa when you are going through it,
Yeah.
and then there's IVF pregnancy. After you've fallen pregnant, then you move on to the next group. So it helps because sometimes you feel stuff. And because of the 30%, you're always worried. Am I
Mm.
losing the baby? Is my body failing me? So
Mm.
when in that platform, we share what we're going through, and then you get to understand. Okay, this is normal. Okay, somebody else went through this, and the results were different from what I'm thinking I'm going through. So it helps to have a community of people that understand what you're going through. And you could be my friend and you're there for me, but you don't really
Yeah, know
understand,
what you're really going through. Yeah.
Yeah, so even when you're frustrated, we understand each other's frustration. So the group helps. It helps people really that are going through. It's yeah, I think it's just to have that community and also to have that communication with your clinic or with your either with your nurse or with your. I had a very good doctor, and the nurses that were helping us were very good and they were very available. So it was. I think it's just advisable to just go through it with somebody that really understands what you're going through.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah,
And you went to Vitalab.
yes,
All right. And you also shared in the book, obviously, I think, in terms of how the journey was, like, with the experience of your doctors and the assistance you were getting. Tell us about that.
So when we started in 2017, we had a daughter, Dr. Jacobson, a very like his sense of humor was beyond. And then he retired because we obviously took a long time. Then when we came back, we had Dr. Forshan, who was also much different from Dr. Forshan, but still very helpful and
Yeah.
who also advised us to read. And then we also had to go for the fertility. What is it called? We went for therapy with a fertility specialist
Mm.
to help us decide on the transitioning of the baby into the community, in our family, within our friends. So initially, I just thought, this process is already so expensive, and now we have to go through therapy, and I really don't see a point, but it was a prerequisite. But when I went through that session, I feel that it's just something that it felt right to when the baby's grown up, I should be able to explain what happened to you, how were you conceived, and even with the brother, because I have an older
Son,
a
yes.
son, yeah. So I needed to. They gave us articles to just make it easy for everyone to understand, even with their family members, those that were interested in understanding. It was easier for us to explain what is it that
Yeah.
we are going through and what is it that we like in the meantime while we're still waiting. There's also that 30% which
Mm.
was freaking me out, by the way.
But they kept reminding you about that.
Yeah, and also if it's your last embryo and it's just 30% chance of success, so it's hectic. It was hectic.
I do love the fact that you were given a lot of information, because I think the fact that a lot of people don't know,
Yeah,
they think they know.
yeah,
It makes, I think, the your mentality stronger when you go through your journey,
mm,
and the fact that there's support groups as well. I think also does make it better so that you don't feel alone, because it's so easy to feel alone in the process
yeah,
of I've been doing this and I've paid so much money and I'm not falling pregnant, I'm not getting the
yeah,
results and wanting to give up.
yeah,
So I like the fact that there is that support and that there is the guidelines as well,
yeah.
because without guidelines as well, it's so easy to
But also too much information sometimes it's just it's just too much
scary.
information is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember Nisiko said she had a lot of information going into it,
Mm,
so it was also it freaks you out. Yeah,
mm,
because
mm.
for me I learned of the support group online just before, I think, the week that I was supposed to just when they were when we were implanting. My doctor told me about it, and she said, "I'm telling you this late delivery because I don't want you to get into that group and freak out when people are just not getting successful cycles. Then it's just going to affect you negatively." And I think it was good that he introduced me to the group just a week before I fell pregnant. Yeah,
Sure. I do love it. I do love the fact that there is the information, and the fact that you're forced to go through the psychology part of
yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah, yeah,
because because of the information overload, the psychology part of it assists you to prepare yourself and mentally and everything else.
But do you know the funny thing is that heterosexuals don't really go through therapy. And for me, in as much as I found it to be very useful for us, I was just shocked that only gay people go through therapy.
But why? What's the reason?
I guess it's just the transitioning of the baby. I guess that's the reason. But also, even with heterosexuals, there's still that, or unless then you don't really share that it's it's an IVF baby. Yeah, I don't know, but I just feel like even for your own self, because we were talking about DNA.
Yeah.
Basically, that child who you got a donor from, it's the DNA won't be yours 100%. Either to be the mother's or the father's. So I still believe that therapy is still needed just to, yeah.
Yeah, sure. But anyways, thank you so much. We will be having more conversations. You guys better stay tuned on our social media platforms to find out more about the next in-person conversations with Dimple that we will be having. And I think people need to read more about the book,
Yeah, yeah.
about the journey you went through. Because we're also not trying to take out too much, but we're trying to be like, Sebahalisela, guys, this is what we talking about, or this is what Dimple went through. And also, her story is the representation of what other women are also going through. And you just happen to be the voice of it. And you would encourage other people to try IVF if they've got the means to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Cool. Hopefully, you can fall pregnant. And hopefully, all the other alternatives that you do use do work for you. I've heard so many people also say the older you get, the more difficult it is to fall pregnant as well. But we find that even younger people are
I'm
struggling,
struggling. Yeah.
and they go through IVF as well.
And with this IVF journey, when I joined the group, I learned of